These past couple weeks, I've been busy in the garden, planting flowers and fruit and nut trees. Here in the Midwest, the weather has been up and down. Some days warm and sunny in the 70s, and other days cold and rainy, dropping into the 30s. I've been taking advantage of the warm days, getting outside as much as possible. There has been so much work to do on the homestead, preparing the gardens and beginning new projects. One of my favorite things to do is to plant my garden. And when it's warm outside, I love to feel the sun and air move across my body. There isn't anything more freeing than going outside without any clothes on, feeling the earth beneath you, getting your hands dirty, and feeling the warmth of the sun touch your skin. Being with the plants in their raw form, while you yourself are in your natural, raw form. Nothing between you and nature. No shame, no judgment, no expectations of how you should look, what you should wear, how you should be. Mother Earth accepting you just as you are, shining her light upon you, welcoming you with open arms. This is one of the many reasons why I love to show up in the garden this way. Another well-known gardener from the early 1900s, Ruth Stout, was another naked gardener, and for many of the same reasons. She loved to feel the air move across her body. She was considered to be unconventional, free-thinking, and lived outside of the mainstream. That same goes for many of her gardening methods, which are still used today and comparable to what is now known as permaculture. Strong women in history are oftentimes knocked down with judgment, but I love these words by Ruth Stout. Do what you want to do, and don't tell other people how to behave. To make rules for other people, I just don't get it. I had some help from my sister and her new puppy finishing my hugelkultur beds. We top-dressed them with compost, and a few days later, I began to plant wildflower seeds. The moon was in its light phase and in the flowering signs of Virgo and Libra, so it was the perfect time to plant flowers. I spread the seeds all over the beds using various mixes. This is the area that I'll be keeping bees, so I wanted to make sure that they'd have plenty of natural sources for food. I also planted black locust and native hazelnut trees in this area, more great pollinator sources for the bees. I continued to plant more flowers over the next several days. I wanted to expand my cottage garden near the house this year. So I purchased more flowers from the local garden shop and began to transplant those into the garden, as well as planted more medicinal herbs and seeds. This is the fairy garden I had planted. So I mostly have thyme growing through here, different types of thyme. And then I also have a form of lavender growing in here also. I ordered all of my fruit and nut trees over winter, remembering that last year I had missed the deadline for those. They were all sold out when I tried to order them in early spring, so this year I was prepared. I have a couple native hazelnuts in here. I have a dwarf mulberry tree, a silver maple tree, and what else? I have Concord grapes and 2 raspberry bushes, as well as a large mulberry tree. So I have a lot of planting today to do, a lot of trees to plant. So some of these I definitely need to soak their roots in water because they've been in root over the last couple days in storage, and they need a good drink. When you order them, they are reserved and later shipped out once the weather begins to get warmer in your area. When they arrived on my front doorstep, I knew that I'd have to get them in the ground as quickly as possible. So my husband and I got right to work. I am planting a pear tree. I've got 2 pear trees because you need at least 2 in order for them to cross-pollinate so that you get fruit off of them. So I'm planting 2 outside of the garden, just next to it. Inside the garden I planted a peach tree, and I'll also be planting mulberry and some more raspberries. Oh, you guys don't have to run away. So I just finished mixing up the soil for blueberries because I'm planting 2 high bush blueberry bushes near the chickens' coop because they love blueberries, and I feed them blueberries just about every day. And so I figured having a couple of those around their coop would be really nice. They would appreciate it. But blueberries are very particular about their soil that they're grown in. It has to be a lower pH. So I'm trying to put together a good soil for them to get started, and making sure that I'm amending it as well with a couple additional minerals and nutrients. Would you do me a favor?
We need.
Can you go get me the 2 blueberry plants that are over there?
Yeah.
So this is going to be a little too low. I'm going to put more soil at the bottom. That'll be about right. That looks really good. I lay down contractor's paper around the perimeter of the plant just to make sure that no grass comes through. You guys. They're worse than cats. Very, very curious. We then made our way down to the pasture, where we recently had excavation work done to help the water flow better into the creek. In this area, I planted water-loving trees such as black locust, hazelnut, willow, and a silver maple. After the excavation, it was a little hard to maneuver our way through, but we managed just fine.
Take on my heart, I love you. Don't let us part, I love you. Dear little girl, sweet little girl, sweeter than the rose of Erin. are your winning smiles and daring. Take on my heart, your glances with Irish art and trances. Come be my own, come make your home in my heart.
I also planted some medicinal herbs that love marshy areas and creeksides, such as marshmallow, phlox, betony, and wild licorice. We also lay down some tall grass seed to restore this area. In a matter of a few days, the weather took a turn and dropped into the high 20s and 30s. We quickly covered the newly planted fruit trees and berry bushes with frost blankets to try and protect them from the cold temperatures. I had also moved my tomato and pepper starts into the greenhouse earlier that week, so I wanted to make sure they were going to stay warm as well. I'm trying to keep the tomatoes and peppers warm by using a heat mat underneath in the greenhouse that I'm powering with the Jackery. I had this running all day yesterday into the night, overnight, and came out, checked the other one that I was using, and it was at 59%, so it was not using a lot of power. Still had a lot of juice left, which is great, but I just switched out the other Jackery to last through most of today, and we'll see what it looks like overnight. During the months of spring, it is a dance between the two extremes, winter and summer. It is often turbulent, chaotic, and unpredictable. But it is also a time of excitement, as new energy rises and life is reborn. It's electric. Just like when a mother gives birth to a new baby, the moments just before the baby enters this world, there are moments of pain, discomfort, and chaos. It gets messy and can be exhausting, but once we push through that pain, the other side of it is beauty beyond words. A new baby takes its first breath, just as we take our first breath as a newly defined being, a mother. And so it begins a new cycle of life. Happy spring and happy renewal.